Alejandro Ramirez gripped the hammer tighter, driving the last nail into the neighbor's fence post. At 35, the Seattle detective had seen enough chaos on the job to value these small fixes, helping Mrs. Lopez secure her yard after the storm showed him as the reliable guy everyone leaned on. "Gracias, Alejandro," she said, handing him a fresh tamale wrapped in foil. He smiled, waving it off. "Anytime. Keeps the street safe for the kids." Back home, he washed up quick and headed to the kitchen, where Sophia was stirring pots for dinner. Their routine felt solid after 8 years. Him chasing leads in homicide, her managing accounts at the downtown firm. He kissed her cheek, grabbing plates to set the table. "Rough day?" she asked, plating arroz con pollo. "Nothing I can't handle." "Yours?" She nodded, but her phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it, then silenced it fast. "Just a client email." Late hours again. Alejandro served the food, watching her fork through the rice without much appetite. After dinner, she headed to the shower, leaving her phone charging by the sink. He paused, then picked it up. Old habit from the job, checking locks before bed. The screen unlocked with their shared code. Messages from Carlos. "Work," popped up. "Can't wait for Thursday." Same spot. His gut twisted. He scrolled. Flirty replies from her. Plans for coffee that turned into dinners. Heart pounding, he snapped photos of the thread with his own phone, then set it back exactly as found. Water shut off in the bathroom. He sat at the table, mind racing. Sophia emerged, towel around her shoulders, and joined him on the couch. "Everything okay?" she asked, leaning in. He forced a nod. "Yeah, just decompressing." But inside, suspicion ignited. That night, as she slept, he lay awake, piecing it together. Her late Thursdays started 3 weeks ago, vague meetings she brushed off. He decided then, no confrontation yet. He'd track it, build a case like any other. By morning, he'd installed a discreet app on her car key fob, linking to GPS. At work, he pulled her office calendar through a backdoor contact. No strategic reviews listed, just open blocks. Tension built as the week dragged. He played the doting husband, picked up her dry cleaning, planned a weekend hike in the Cascades to show he cared. But doubt gnawed. Thursday arrived. Sophia kissed him goodbye at 5 p.m. Claiming a team huddle, Alejandro waited 10 minutes, then followed in his unmarked sedan, keeping 2 cars back. She drove to Pike Street garage, parked on level 4, and slipped into a waiting SUV. His dash cam caught the license, registered to Carlos Mendoza, 42, married exec at her firm. They drove off together. Alejandro tailed them to a cafe on First Avenue. Through the window, he saw her laugh at something he said, her hand brushing his. No kiss, but the vibe screamed intimate. He snapped photos from across the street, heart sinking but resolve hardening. Back home, he logged it all in an encrypted file, timestamps, plates, locations. Sophia returned at 9:15, smelling of coffee and excuses. "Traffic was brutal," she said, heading straight for a shower. He nodded, watching her go. Alone, he reviewed the pics. This wasn't stress, it was betrayal. But then, his phone pinged, an anonymous tip from an old informant. "Check Carlos's past. He's got dirt on your wife." Alejandro's blood ran cold. What if this wasn't just an affair? He dug deeper that night, hacking into public records. Buried in Sophia's college transcripts, a dismissed embezzlement charge from an internship, hushed up. Carlos worked there back then. Was he holding it over her? Or was she playing him? The twist hit like a gut punch. Sophia's stressed confession earlier that week echoed in his mind. She'd admitted to work pressures, pulling her away, but now it clicked. Maybe Carlos was blackmailing her into this. Or worse, she was using it as cover. Alejandro slammed his laptop shut, adrenaline surging. He wouldn't rush in. Tomorrow, he'd confront the pattern head-on. But for now, the man who'd fixed fences for neighbors felt his own world cracking. He poured a coffee, black and strong, and planned his next move. Sophia's phone buzzed again in the bedroom. Another message he couldn't ignore. Alejandro Ramirez stared at his laptop screen the next morning, the anonymous tip burning in his mind. At 35, the Seattle detective knew better than to chase shadows without backup, but this felt personal. He started with Carlos Mendoza's public records. 42, married to Elena, 2 kids, VP at Sophia's firm. Digging deeper through a precinct database, old favors from the job, he uncovered the link. 10 years ago, during Sophia's internship at a subsidiary, she'd been accused of skimming petty cash. The charge vanished after a quiet settlement, and Carlos had been the supervisor who signed off. No coincidence. Blackmail? Leverage for an affair? Alejandro forwarded the file to his encrypted drive, then headed to work, playing it cool with Sophia over breakfast. Big case today? She asked, pouring cereal. He nodded, kissing her forehead. Yeah, but I'll be home for dinner. To build trust and cover his tracks, he surprised her with tickets to a Mariners game that weekend, showing the husband who still cared. But inside, the plan solidified. Track the next Thursday, confirm the hold Carlos had. The week blurred into routine. Alejandro coached his niece's soccer team after hours, laughing as she scored, reinforcing his role as the steady uncle everyone counted on. At home, Sophia seemed extra affectionate, cooking his favorite empanadas and suggesting a movie night. You've been so distant lately, she said, curling against him on the couch. He pulled her close, masking the storm. Just work stress. We're good. But he monitored her phone pings, more from Carlos. Work, now laced with urgency. We need to talk about that old issue. Thursday? Her replies. Okay, but make it quick. By Wednesday, he tailed her lunch break, spotting her meeting Carlos at a park bench near the office. Hidden behind a food truck, Alejandro recorded audio, Carlos's voice low. You owe me for covering that internship mess. One more meet, or it goes public. Sophia's response. Fine, but this ends soon. It wasn't pure romance. Carlos was squeezing her. Alejandro's jaw tightened. Sympathy flickered, but betrayal stung deeper. Was she trapped or complicit? Thursday hit like clockwork. Sophia left at 5 p.m., claiming a team strategy session. Alejandro gave her a 15-minute head start, then slipped into his sedan, GPS app live on her car. She parked at Pike Street Garage again, level 3 this time. He entered on foot, blending with commuters, and watched her SUV pull up. They drove to El Gaucho, a steakhouse on First Avenue. Upscale, discreet. Alejandro parked a block away and entered through the side door, posing as a waiter with a borrowed vest from a buddy. He cleared tables nearby, ears tuned. You can't keep this up, Sophia hissed over wine glasses. My husband's no fool. Carlos leaned in. Then pay the price for that old theft. Or we continue. This is fun too. She pulled back, but didn't leave. Alejandro snapped discreet photos, her hand on his arm, a forced laugh. His heart raced. Victim or player? He slipped out before dessert, evidence mounting. Restaurant receipt, swiped via contact, confirming cash payment to dodge trails. Back home by 8 p.m. Alejandro logged it all. Timestamps, audio clips, the blackmail angle. Sophia arrived at 9:45, keys jingling. Long night. She sighed, dropping her bag. He met her in the kitchen, handing her water. Rough meeting. She nodded, avoiding his eyes. Yeah, client drama. To test, he suggested a spontaneous date. Let's drive to Alki Beach tomorrow, watch the sunset. Her relief was palpable. She agreed eagerly, hugging him tight. But as she showered off the evening, Alejandro reviewed the recordings. The fun comment twisted the knife. Sophia wasn't just coerced. She'd leaned into it. Texts from weeks back showing flirtation before the threats escalated. Tension coiled. He wouldn't explode yet. Friday, they walked the beach, hand in hand, waves crashing. He threw pebbles into the water, watching them skip, while she chattered about work woes. Carlos is pushing too hard on projects, she admitted vaguely. Alejandro nodded, supportive, but filed it, partial truth. That night, alone in his home office, he cross-checked Carlos's finances. Unexplained deposits matching Sophia's bonuses. Payoff, or shared spoils. The plot thickened Sunday. Alejandro's phone buzzed. Elena Mendoza, Carlos's wife, a name from his academy days. She'd been a trainee under his mentor. He answered cautiously. Alejandro? It's Elena. Heard you're investigating something at the firm. Rumors. His pulse spiked. What rumors? She hesitated. Sophia's been close to Carlos. I found texts. But there's more. He's been blackmailing her over some old fraud. I want it stopped. Alejandro froze. Elena knew? She explained. She'd hacked Carlos's email, seen the internship file. Help me nail him legally. For our families. Sympathy surged. Two women entangled in one man's web? But doubt lingered. Elena's tone held edge, like she suspected Sophia's role. He agreed to share non-personal evidence, buying time. Monday, at the precinct, he pulled Carlos's full background. Prior complaints for harassment, hushed by the company. Sophia's stress confession replayed. She'd admitted work pressures pulling her away, but omitted Carlos entirely. Was she protecting him, or herself? By midweek, Alejandro confronted the heart of it. He installed a tracker on Carlos's SUV during a coffee run, confirming meets. Another Thursday loomed. Sophia planned a girls' night, but GPS showed Pike Street again. Alejandro tailed, parking at the garage. This time, he followed on foot to a nearby hotel, the Edgewater on Alaskan Way. Through the lobby glass, he saw them check in. Room 412, cash. Rage boiled. But he held, recording the front desk exchange. Upstairs, he waited in the hall, ear to the door. Murmurs, then Sophia's voice sharp. This blackmail ends tonight. I won't let you ruin my marriage. Carlos laughed. You started it, flirting back then. Now pay up, or I tell your husband everything. Alejandro's fist clenched. It clicked. The affair began as her escape, evolved into his control. But the twist gutted him. A muffled call from inside. Sophia dialing a lawyer? Prepare the divorce papers. He's onto us. She was playing both sides? Alejandro backed away, mind reeling. Home by 10, he poured coffee, black, staring at the evidence wall he'd built mentally. Sophia returned late, feigning exhaustion. He hugged her goodnight, but sleep evaded. The man who'd fixed fences now saw his foundation crumble. Tomorrow, he'd force the truth, blackmail or not, lies had to end. Her phone lit up once more. See you soon, from Carlos. Alejandro's resolve hardened. The hunt was on. Alejandro Ramirez gripped the steering wheel as he circled the Edgewater's parking lot, the hotel's lights cutting through the Seattle dusk. At 35, the detective's instincts screamed intervention. Sophia's call to the lawyer replayed in his head, a potential escape plan mid-affair. He parked 2 rows back from Carlos's SUV, slipped on gloves to avoid prints, and approached room 412 via the fire stairs. At the door, muffled voices leaked. Sophia's sharp, "This ends now," met by Carlos's chuckle. Alejandro pulled his precinct recorder from his pocket, standard issue for stakeouts, and pressed it to the wood. You think your husband's clueless? Carlos said. I can bury you with that internship fraud. Or we keep this going, your choice. Sophia snapped back. I initiated the flirt, fine, but the blackmail? That's on you. Alejandro's blood boiled. Her admission confirmed complicity, not just victimhood. He knocked hard, 3 raps like an official summons. Silence, then shuffling. The door cracked. Sophia's eyes widened. Alejandro? What are you? He pushed in gently but firmly, recorder still running. Carlos stood by the window, phone in hand, frozen mid-text. Save the excuses, Alejandro said, voice level, eyes locked on Carlos. I have the logs, the texts, the audio from the park. Blackmail's a crime, extortion, to be precise. Sophia stepped forward, hands raised. It's not what it looks like. He forced me. Carlos sneered, pocketing his phone. Prove it. Without that old file, she's just a cheating wife. Tension spiked. Alejandro held up his own device, playing the lobby check-in audio he'd captured earlier. Cash payment, room 412, 2 adults. And your SUV's tagged. GPS doesn't lie. Carlos lunged for the recorder, but Alejandro sidestepped, shoving him back against the dresser. No fists, just control. Touch it, and you're assaulting an officer. Sophia grabbed Alejandro's arm. Please, let's talk at home. I ended it, I swear. He shook her off, pulling a printed packet from his jacket. Embezzlement records, timestamps, her flirty replies predating threats. You ended nothing. You started this to get back at me for long hours, right? Payback affair. Her silence confirmed it. The twist hit. She'd confessed work stress weeks ago, but omitted her motive, revenge for his job pulling him away. Carlos laughed bitterly. She came to me first, detective. Said you ignored her. Alejandro turned to him. And you used it for leverage. Call your wife. Tell Elena everything, or I do, with evidence. Carlos paled, dialing shakily. Sophia whispered, don't ruin us all. But Alejandro was done. He hit record on his phone too. This conversation's official. Sophia, you're complicit. Sign this separation agreement tonight, or it goes to HR and the DA. The room thickened with conflict. Carlos paced, phone to ear, voice breaking as he confessed to Elena, I blackmailed her. And more. Come get the kids, I'm done. He hung up, glaring. You happy now? Alejandro nodded. It's a start. Your firm's ethics board gets this tomorrow. Sophia sank onto the bed, tears flowing. I was lonely, Alejandro. You were always gone. Cases, stakeouts. Carlos listened. He cut her off. So you slept with him? Built a lie on my absences? She nodded, defeated. But the blackmail started later. I wanted out. The revelation twisted deeper. Her ending it call to the lawyer wasn't escape from Carlos. It was prepping to divorce Alejandro first, framing him as the distant husband to gain leverage in court. He'd overheard the tale and through the door. Make sure I get the house. He's never home. Rage simmered, but he stayed composed. You planned to flip the script, paint me as the villain. She gasped. How did you? I know patterns, he said. Like suspects who lawyer up mid-crime. Carlos interrupted, grabbing his keys. I'm out. This blows up on you too. Alejandro blocked the door. Not yet. Delete her number. Hand over your phone. I'll verify. Carlos complied, fumbling, as Alejandro scrolled. More threats, plus photos of Sofia from their meets. He snapped his own pics of the screen, then let him go. Drive safe. Elena's waiting. Sofia stood, pleading. We can fix this. Therapy, time apart. I love you. Alejandro pocketed the recorder. Love doesn't blackmail or scheme. You chose revenge over talking. He handed her the packet again. Prenup clauses, asset splits. Sign, or I file for divorce Monday, citing infidelity. She hesitated, pen shaking, but scrawled her name. What about Carlos? Alejandro's eyes hardened. He faces charges if he doesn't come clean fully. You? Lose the job if HR hears. Outside, rain pattered as they exited. Sofia silent in the elevator, Alejandro calling a cab for her. Go home. I'll follow. In the car, she broke. I thought you'd never notice. Your job blinded you. He gripped the wheel. No, your lies did. At home, he changed the locks while she packed a bag for the guest room. His rule, no shared bed. Tension peaked as she begged one last time. Don't throw us away. He faced her squarely. You did that Thursdays ago. Alone in his office by midnight, he emailed copies to his attorney. Evidence filed, separation official. The confrontation had exploded the lies, but the twist lingered. Her divorce plot meant she'd never intended reconciliation. Sleep came fitful. Tomorrow, he'd notify Elena personally, closing the loop. Sofia's sobs echoed from down the hall, but Alejandro felt clarity cutting through. No more games. He'd reclaim his life, one fact at a time. His phone buzzed, Elena's text. He confessed. Thank you. Meet tomorrow? He replied yes, resolve stealing. The hunt shifted from proof to protection, for himself, and now her too. Alejandro Ramirez met Elena Mendoza at a quiet diner off Aurora Avenue the next morning, coffee steaming between them as Seattle's fog lifted. At 35, the detective valued straight talk. Elena, 40 and sharp-eyed from her days in dispatch, had texted urgently after Carlos's confession. He admitted the blackmail and affair, she said, sliding over a USB drive. But I dug deeper. Sofia's been plotting. Alejandro plugged it in under the table, scanning files. Emails from Sofia to her lawyer, dated weeks back, outlining a divorce strategy. Claim emotional neglect. His job kept him away. Secure the house, alimony. The twist knifed him. Not just revenge affair, but a calculated exit to strip him clean, using his long hours against him. Elena leaned in. I was your academy contacts trainee. Knew you'd get this right. Send this to your attorney. It's leverage. He nodded, pocketing the drive. Carlos faces charges. She confirmed. HR's involved. Embezzlement ties from her internship could sink him too. They parted with a firm handshake. Alejandro heading to his lawyer's office, resolve like steel. Back home, Sofia waited in the kitchen, eyes red from a sleepless night in the guest room. We need to talk, she said, voice shaky. He set his keys down. The papers are filed. Separation's official as of noon. She stood abruptly. Based on what? One mistake? He pulled out the printed emails from the USB, sliding them across the table. This. Your plan to frame me as absent. Take the house. Dated before last Thursday. Sofia scanned them, paling. That's not. I drafted it in anger, but I never sent it. Alejandro cut in, voice even. Your lawyer has timestamps. And Elena shared Carlos's side. Your flirt started it all. Tension crackled. She grabbed the counter edge. Elena? You're involving outsiders? He stepped closer. You involved him first. Now, pack for the condo. I'll cover first month's rent, but no more games. Sofia's phone buzzed. HR email. Suspension pending investigation into personal conduct. She gasped. This is you, isn't it? Alejandro shook his head. Karma's faster than me. Sign the asset split. You keep your car, I keep the house. She hesitated, then scrawled her name, tears dropping on the page. Therapy could save us. I still love you. He met her gaze. Love doesn't plot or lie. You're free. Go start over. As she loaded boxes into her car that afternoon, neighbors waved goodbye, oblivious. Alejandro changed the locks again, then called his sister for support. She's gone. Feels final. She urged, focus on you. Join that precinct gym group. He agreed, hanging up lighter. The chain reaction hit fast. By evening, Carlos texted Alejandro from a blocked number. You win. Told Elena everything. Divorce papers served. Alejandro forwarded it to his attorney, adding to the file. No gloating, just closure. He dove into work, leading a stakeout on a robbery ring, the adrenaline channeling his focus. Home felt emptier but cleaner. No more late showers or vague texts. Friday, Sophia called from the condo. HR fired me. Carlos too. This ruins everything. He kept it brief. You chose the risks. Payback's done, move on. She pleaded for a meeting, but he declined. No contact unless through lawyers. Hanging up, he blocked her number, then met his buddy at the gym for weights. Betrayal sucks, the cops said, spotting him on bench presses. But you're solid. Women noticed that. Alejandro grunted through reps, sweat building resolve. The plot twisted again that night. A voicemail from Sophia's lawyer. New info, client claims you spied illegally. Could complicate the divorce. Alejandro's jaw set. He'd anticipated pushback. He called his own counsel. Counter with the emails and audio. Affidavit from Elena seals it. By morning, the response came. Sophia's side backed down, fearing exposure of her scheme. The house stayed his, with her getting a fair but limited settlement. No alimony, citing infidelity. Alejandro adapted swiftly. He remodeled the kitchen himself over the weekend, ripping out old cabinets, installing new ones to symbolize fresh starts. His niece's soccer game Saturday provided normalcy. He cheered her goal, then treated the team to ice cream, earning high fives. Uncle A, you're the best. It landed like balm. Monday at the precinct, a new case landed. Corporate fraud, ironically tied to Sophia's old firm. He led the briefing, voice commanding. We build the case clean, no assumptions. Colleagues nodded, his steadiness shone. After hours, he ran into Maria Lopez, the neighbor he'd helped with the fence. Heard about Sophia? Sorry, man. Coffee sometime. As friends. At 32, she was a teacher, warm and direct. He smiled. Maybe. Starting slow. No rush. He focused on reclaiming routines. Morning runs along the waterfront. Evening reads on cold cases. The twist deepened midweek. Elena called. Carlos skipped town, but left a confession video. Admits framing Sophia's revenge as mutual. He pushed her into the plot for his gang. Alejandro watched it. Carlos boasting to a mirror about manipulating both marriages. Sends it to you for insurance. He filed it away, emailing copies to authorities. No more surprises. He'd outmaneuvered the web. By week's end, peace settled. Alejandro hosted a small barbecue for precinct friends, grilling steaks and sharing laughs. No mentions of the drama. Sophia texted once via a new number. I lost the job, the affair, you deserved it? He didn't reply, deleting it. The condo life suited her, her mutual friends, isolated, reflecting. Carlos's wife, Elena, started divorce proceedings, crediting Alejandro's evidence. He met her again for a quick update. Thanks for the push. Starting fresh too, dating app, even. She grinned. You deserve it. Alone that night, Alejandro poured coffee, black, and reviewed the final file. Separation complete, no loose ends. The man who'd tailed lies now walked straight, unburdened. Tension eased into momentum. Tomorrow's shift promised action and life beyond the betrayal. His phone buzzed, not a threat, but Maria, coffee tomorrow? He typed yes, hitting send. Forward motion, earned and deliberate. Alejandro Ramirez signed the final divorce decree at his attorney's office, the pen scratching clean across the page as Seattle's autumn rain tapped the window. At 35, the detective felt the weight lift. 2 months since the hotel confrontation, and justice had settled without courts dragging it out. Sophia got the condo and her savings. No alimony due to the infidelity clause. He kept the house, citing her plotted scheme in the filings. It's fair, his lawyer said, shaking his hand. Her side dropped the spying claims after Elena's affidavit. Alejandro nodded, pocketing the copy. She earned the consequences. Driving home, he called Elena Mendoza for an update. Carlos is gone, fled to Mexico, but the firm's pressing charges for embezzlement ties. My divorce finalizes next week. Her voice held grit. Thanks to your evidence. We're both free. He agreed to meet for coffee soon, ally to ally. At the precinct, he wrapped the corporate fraud case, leading the arrest of a low-level exec, ironic closure on betrayal themes. Clean bust, his captain clapped his shoulder. You're back on form. 3 months post-separation, the house hummed with new rhythm. Alejandro finished the kitchen remodel, installing sleek counters himself, turning sweat into stability. No more ghosts. He'd cleared Sophia's traces early. Saturdays, he coached his niece's soccer team, her triumphant goals pulling cheers from the sidelines. Uncle A, you're unstoppable, she yelled after a win, hugging his leg. He treated the kids to pizza, fostering the family ties that grounded him. Work surged. A promotion to lead detective on major cases, his sharp instincts earning nods from the brass. Evenings, he ran the waterfront trail, breath steady, mind clear. Sophia's scandal hit her hard, fired from the firm, blacklisted in accounting circles per industry whispers. Mutual friends relayed she'd holed up in the condo, job hunting fruitlessly. Derek. Wait, Carlos. Now a ghost in her life. She'd texted once via a burner. Lost everything. Can we talk? Alejandro deleted it unread. No energy for her regrets. Carlos faced extradition rumors. His manipulations unraveled, leaving Elena to rebuild with the kids, custody in her favor. The moral clicked into place one crisp Thursday. Irony not lost. The old trigger day, now just routine. Alejandro met Maria Lopez, the neighbor teacher, at a cafe on Capitol Hill. At 32, she matched his pace. Direct, laughing at his precinct stories over lattes. Heard you fixed more than fences lately, she said, stirring her drink. Sounds like you deserve a win. He shared lightly. No deep dives into betrayal, just the forward path. They walked the market afterward, sampling fresh churros, her hand brushing his in the crowd. No pressure. A second date followed, hiking Discovery Park, where he opened up about the divorce's toll. Lies erode trust, he said, pausing at a viewpoint. But truth rebuilds stronger. Maria nodded. You're proof, resilient, not bitter. Their connection sparked slow, genuine dinners at his place, her cooking arepas that rivaled his mom's. Precinct buddies teased. Ramirez, finally off the market? He shrugged, smiling, taking it step by step. Elena's coffee meet confirmed the fallout. Sophia reached out, apologized for the mess, she said, handing over Carlos's confession video as promised. Said she carried the guilt alone. Alejandro watched it briefly. Carlos admitting he fueled Sophia's revenge plot, dangling the internship fraud to bind her, then twisting it for his affair. Pathetic, he muttered, filing it with authorities for the open case. Elena raised her mug. You exposed it all. Fair play, no vengeance. He agreed. The law handled the rest, no vigilante moves. Sophia's consequences mounted, a civil suit from the firm for her role in the old cover-up, forcing her to sell the condo. She moved south, starting over in Portland, per a brief mutual update. No contact, just facts. Alejandro felt no schadenfreude, just vindication. Actions reaped results, her schemes collapsing under scrutiny. Peace anchored by month's end. Alejandro hosted a precinct barbecue in the backyard, grilling carne asada for 10, laughter echoing. Maria joined, fitting seamlessly, her stories of classroom chaos lightening the mood. His sister pulled him aside. Proud of you. Strong, not vengeful. That's real manhood. He nodded, flipping burgers. Alone later, he gathered the old evidence folder, prints, recordings, emails, and carried it to the backyard fire pit. Striking the match, he fed pages in. Hotel logs curling first, then texts, Sophia's plot drafts last. Flames snapped, consuming the past without fanfare. No rage, just release. The video from Carlos went next, digitized copy safe with the DA. Ashes scattered in the breeze, symbolizing finality. Inside, Maria waited with wine. Burning bridges? She asked, curious. More like clearing space. He replied, joining her on the couch. Their kiss came natural, unhurried, trust rebuilt on honesty. The lesson lingered as winter neared. Alejandro led a training seminar at the academy, sharing case tactics. Spot patterns early, act decisively, let facts deliver justice. Trainees hung on his words, seeing the resolve in his stance. Maria's presence grew. Weekend getaways to the Olympics, planning holidays with families. Sophia faded to background noise, a cautionary tale among friends, her accountability sealed by lost career and isolation. Carlos's arrest hit the news. Extradited, facing extortion counts. Alejandro watched briefly, then switched channels. No victory lap. Satisfaction in the system working. At home, he poured coffee, black and hot, savoring the quiet. The man who'd tailed lies now chased truths in work and love, unscarred. Freedom whispered in routine breaths. Steady, forward, earned. His phone buzzed. Maria's text. Dinner tonight? He replied yes, stepping out to the porch, world sharp and open. Betrayal taught endurance. Now he lived it.